Thanks so much for coming to God is Garden, where you grow, flow within and out. Today, I'm going to take you guys along in the garden. This is my journey. This is my garden. This is my diary for my garden. And I like to do these updates in my garden and also say and tell how to build up a healthy ecosystem. Like, if you have a healthy ecosystem, you actually have living food to grow. Like a living food to grow, not just only growing food that doesn't have any type of nutrients in there. I want to just say is that you want to be able to grow a living system that could be able to feed you back of whatever that you're growing. And that equates to you having an individual. You have to have living soil. You gotta actually have healthy soil. So with the healthy soil, that will be able to feed you right back also. Modern day food is not, those are considered to be objects, like fake food. So like I was saying is that modern day foods is considered to be like more so like fake foods. They look real, but they're not real. That's why a lot of things you have to actually start supplementing things like with vitamins and buying supplements basically, because of it's lacking those minerals in the soil. They don't have it in there. It's depleted. It's dead. Like only thing they're feeding is the plant, which that even goes with their herbs too. They're feeding these plants a chemical compound that literally the body is hard. It's hard for the body to actually break that stuff down. So on my channel, I actually tell y'all how to build your soil for free. This is your attention, and then you need to. That's what it needs. You need your attention to actually learn how to build up your soil. This actually goes into raised beds. It actually goes into your in-ground soil, because your in-ground soil really does matter, because even though your raised beds can actually be depleted in your raised beds, because at the end of the day is that if you're buying soil and you're not building up your soil in your raised beds and treating it like it was in ground, then that actually is depleted too. So on my channel, I literally tell y'all how to actually build up your soil. It's actually pretty easy. It's not hard at all. And it doesn't take rocket science at all. It's basically mimicking nature. So you literally have to have microbial. Guess what, y'all? For microbials, the microbial life, guess what? You really don't even have to go buy it. Like, guess what? I was like subjected to buying all this type of stuff, but you do not have to really buy it if you actually building it up. So like, say for instance, worm castings. Just start inviting the worms to your garden instead of buying worm castings. Come on now. Like, instead of separating a bin to feed worms, to farm worms, that don't even make sense. To me, it don't. Because at the end of the day is that if you look at the way how nature is mimicked, nature is not separating a bin, a compost bin, and then a worm bin, like farming these things. Y'all making gardening way too complicated, because it's really not even complicated at all. Not at all. So therefore is that I'm going to show y'all. I've been showing y'all actually. I've been stating how to build up soil. I've been stating that. So I'm very passionate about what I actually do. So I have been doing my due diligence about how to actually build up soil. And the fact is that not only building up soil, because that does matter, and also growing healthy plants, because of the plants may be getting attacked because of you don't have a balanced ecosystem. Basically is that the soil, the life, what is that plant is growing into? What is that plant is growing? The bag soil does not have life. No. No. You gotta build up that soil. Bag stuff does not literally have life to it. You gotta build it up. You know what? y'all may not like this, but the most thing that I probably see that actually does have life to it, that's actually is topsoil. Topsoil actually have some of those like those beneficial microbes in there. Topsoil. I gave y'all something. And it's actually cheap too. Mulching, it if you don't have currency for fertilizer, mulch breaks down. And mulch is gonna break down, it's gonna feed your soil. Worms love it. That's like worm field. Worms love that. And it breaks down and it actually have those microbes in there. So that's another thing. It's not hard. Chopping drops does it. If you could get if you get a hold onto the mushroom substrate, that's gold right there. That's gold right there. But like I was stating, is that building up soil is not hard at all. So here's another thing is that if you're putting trash in your soil, like that blue crap, I was about to say blue shit, but whatever, that blue crap, like fertilizers and stuff like that, those type of fertilizers, that's not helping building up your soil. That's actually taking away those nutrients, those microbes from your soil. It really is. Like if you are growing your food because of you're tired of modern day farming, modern day food, then you need to learn how to actually work with nature, not against it. Because at the end of the day, if you got hard rock clay soil, then you gotta learn how to actually amend that clay soil. Same thing with sandy soil. You gotta learn how to amend that soil. Whatever that you have, you gotta learn how to make do with what you have. You don't need a raised bed. I just actually got raised beds, to be honest. But my raised beds is that I treat my raised bed as it like my in-ground gardening, because I do have an in-ground garden. I love doing in-ground gardening. So I have 1 foot raised beds that's raised out there. But you don't have to do it that way. To be honest, if you on soil and if it hasn't been like new ground or whatever the case is, like a new subdivision or anything like that, your soil may already have those microbes in there, may already have all of those nutrients in there. Because if you're on like an older property, they already have that in there. So you don't need to go get a soil test neither. You don't need to purchase a soil test. And it's just as simple as that. Those so-called weeds can actually show you all what type of soil you actually have. Some so-called weeds actually thrive in chalky soil. Some so-called weeds actually thrives in sandy soil to actually put nutrients right back into the soil and build up that soil too. With that, you could do a chop and drop also. But let's get to this. In this in-ground bed, right over here, I do have raised beds, but I treat the raised beds like the in-grounds, but I don't. Another reason is Bermuda grass. I don't like Bermuda grass. Bermuda grass was placed here in place of these native plants. These native plants, I literally had to go out and purchase these native plants. But I did see the native plants that was surrounding in this area. These are native plants right here. So I'm going around and then getting native plants and then offering them into my area, because that's building out a balanced ecosystem to welcome in those wildlife. Not necessarily wildlife, not too much wildlife, but basically the native birds, the insects and stuff like that. Those are the ones that's also the butterflies too. The butterflies love this right here. That Greg Mist, love that one. I think this one been chopped back. This one is the blue sage, the Millie blue sage. That's been chopped back, but it's okay though. Also, Sunflowers are native. They just end up just popping up in here, and I just like let them. They're there to grow. So when you are building up your soil, having a balanced ecosystem, because of your the reason why plants get attacked because it's not balanced. Like aphids and stuff like that come into the garden because of it's not balanced in the soil. Not balanced in the soil. It doesn't have anything to do about the plant. It's what's going on in the soil. It needs some type of balance in the soil. It needs healthy soil. So the way how you do that, food scraps. All right, you're gonna open up the ground. However you want to open it up, you're gonna dig a hole, throw some food scraps in there, and then this is totally optional, but you can literally go buy soil. You can go buy your compost if you don't have none that's already made. You can go buy your compost, and then you can also get, if you can't get your hands onto like a mushroom substrate, you can literally mulch will be your best friend. Mulch is cheap and this be your best friend. Mulch will actually start breaking down, and you'll be able to start seeing like a bunch of worms, a bunch of insects. You need those living insects inside of that soil. It will start introducing those living insects inside of the soil. Mulch. I don't care whether, some people say that, oh, well, this black mulch, look, if you can only afford that, then go get it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, don't do this, don't do that. Because at the end of the day, the sun does burn that dye off. Believe it or not, it does burn it off. That's why some of it is not the same color. So if it's cheaper, then get it. But me personally, I would tell you all to buy organic. But if that's not if it's cheaper, because I know how I feel, y'all. I knew how my pockets felt to do that. But it is what it is. Another thing is that's actually free is spent coffee grounds. So you can go get spent coffee grounds and then just spread them around your garden. Just spread them out around your garden. Introducing a bunch of native plants, because you don't want just to have fruit trees or just edibles just growing. Because at the end of the day, that's not a healthy ecosystem. To be honest, that's an ecosystem, and that's actually survivor mode. To be honest, which one are you trying to do? Are you trying to be in creative mode and then having your garden literally feed you and bringing you nutrients, or are you trying to be in survivor mode, and then you still having to go to big box stores to actually figure it out, to get them supplements, and then you trying to still figure it out on your health issue? Which one are you really trying to do? People really need to start asking themselves this question, because I'm not trying to put y'all in fear monger or anything like that, like how these other people are doing. It's crazy. This shit crazy out here. It's crazy the way how these people eating on y'all fear. They literally eating on y'all fear. And I ain't trying to do that, because I ain't about to eat. I'm not eating on somebody else's energy. Shit. But also, ants is another thing. People don't like ants because they do form aphids or whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, they do loosen heavy clay soil. So they are considered to be living things that's inside the mulch. That's inside the soil too. So they will literally leave once your soil is actually loosened up. So they're actually helping. These are natives right here. Natives can be able to withstand the adversary. They're natives. I won't even say to withstand the adversary. The natives can be able to grow in this area because they were here first. They know the soil. They know the weather. They just know the atmosphere. So you want to make sure that you are offering natives, even in your garden beds. You want to make sure you're offering natives and herbs and all of that inside of your garden bed. Over here, it may look like a total mess, but this is my total mess. I don't even care no more. As long as it's not Bermuda grass growing in here, I don't even care because I don't like Bermuda grass. Bermuda grass is it is what it is. It needs to stay on my beds. So what I do with Bermuda grass, I literally just have to yank it out. Just take it and yank it out. I do have mint in here. That's another thing that does deter. Another, like they say that deter pests, but honestly, I literally still had things that have been attacked. So like I keep saying, is that it's about literally the soil. It's not necessarily about the plant itself, but you have to invite diversity into your area. You just cannot be growing what you call it, like one crop, monocropping. You gotta actually grow the wild plants that they call weeds. So you want to be able to grow wild plants that they call weeds. You can grow them side by side. That's more diversity than to someone saying is that grow onions next to your brassicas. No, not necessarily, because those wild birds gonna come in and then eat those things that may be probably attacking your plants. But for the most part, if your plants actually have something attacking it, majority of the time is that what's going on in the soil, or it may just not be in season. Here's the black stuff on top of it is literally spent coffee. So spent coffee grounds. Another thing is that if you are trying to grow for nutrient dense and you want to be more so self-sufficient, then you want to be able to diversify your garden, because diversifying your garden and also building up your soil will be able to help your plants. Your plants is what's going to feed you. So if your plants is healthy, then you can be able to have a healthy body also. What the plant is growing in and what you are feeding it. Because if you are feeding it, the water soluble fertilizer, and I'm talking about non-organic fertilizer, then that's what you're gonna get. And like I said, is that if you're trying to build up some type of independency, then you want to be able to build up your soil. Same thing with natives. Let some of these so-called weeds grow. Those weeds that what people call weeds, let some of them grow. Some of those so-called weeds are edible. That's actually helping in building out a palette of nutrient-dense food too. Like over here, this patch is wild. This is my in-ground garden. This patch is wild. My raised beds is not like this, but it's still offering diversity. And I do treat my raised beds as far as like building up my soil. I do treat it like how I would treat my in-ground. Like I was stating, what I do with my in-ground garden. This is a raised bed. This is the Vago raised bed. I don't buy fancy what do you call it, soil. I used to do this, y'all. I used to buy fancy soil, but my pockets was depleting, and I was pleading to figure out how to do this organically, and that's going to actually build my soil to be healthy. So what I had to do is that I put cardboard underneath, put a bunch of cardboard underneath. I had a lot of food scraps, so I'm throwing a bunch of food scraps in my raised beds all the time. And then the mushroom substrates, but before the mushroom substrates, I was actually, instead of doing like potting mix, I literally be doing mulch. I'll mix my mulch with the cheapest potting mix. I didn't care if it was organic or not, because at the end of the day, I didn't want my pockets crying, okay? Because your pockets should be crying when gardening, okay? Because at the end of the day is that You are not trying to build a survivor mode type of situation. If you are, then go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. That's on you. I don't know what you're really trying to do, but I'm just actually just speaking on what I'm doing. Okay, so I build my raised beds similar to what I do with my in-ground, which is the substrates, also coffee grounds, because those are free, basically free things. Mulch actually start breaking down, and once it start breaking down, you may see like mushrooms popping up. That's good. Once you start seeing that the mulch is actually breaking down, guess what? You don't necessarily have to buy fertilizers, because those things actually is feeding the nutrient. It has a bunch of nutrients in the soil itself. I mean, I guess like fertilizer would be more so a help than it just being used by itself. Then it just can actually do the job for the soil. That's not it. It's not going to do the job for the soil. It's going to help the soil out because it is organic, and also it will help the plant out. But also you want to make sure that you are building up your soil with mulch. Mulch is really important, especially like if you're in a warmer temperate climate. So if you're in a warmer temperate climate, that's going to actually suppress those so-called weeds if you don't want them in your beds. And also it's going to cover the soil, and it's also going to cool the soil when it's heated. So that's another thing. So it's going to make your plants happy. You want happy plants too, so you don't want your plants to actually be stressed neither. So you want healthy soil, and that you want your plants to be happy too. You want to make sure that you're diversifying your beds too. Like, I do have some perennials in here too. Like I have some native perennials, but some of them are herbs. Like even if you don't want the native perennials in there, because the natives can actually spread, because they're able to withstand the area. So you can actually start diversifying with just herbs, and then start putting in some flowers, some flowers, some greens for the area, onions, whatever that you want to put in there. But it has to be like polyculture. Okay, this is another raised bed, but in this raised bed I've been throwing a bunch of substrates in there. It's really have a lot of life going on in there, even though I haven't put any plants in here. But what's really growing is actually these sunflowers, which I'm gonna have to transfer them somewhere, because I am gonna need this bed. But in this bed I put a bunch of food scraps in here. A lot of the plants that I put food scraps in, they thrive. They love eating. They love feeding the soil, because I'm serious. Like, pay attention to your plants also. You want happy plants? Your happy plants is happy soil. This bed right here is actually getting planted out. I really don't have a lot in here, but it's a lot of stuff that I did direct sow, so I'm just waiting on those seeds to start popping up in here. But there is a lot of herbs, a lot of sunflowers that I actually planted in here. But look right next to the raised bed, there's still these so-called weeds that's growing right there. There's these so-called weeds that's growing right there. I mean, they're not going to be in my bed, but they can be right there next to it. So that's diversified for me, because I don't want to be pulling them out, because at the end of the day I do need the space for it. So that's another thing. With substrates, you could use mulch as substrates also. You could cover your over in this raised bed. It's pretty sparse in this raised bed also, but I'm still planting everything out. I do have a bunch of sunflowers. This is going to be a shade cloth for my brassicas. It does has burdock in here. Burdock is a wild plant too, but I do like to offer diversity. those wild plants, you got to just look up the benefits and look up, can you be able to take them? You just got to do your due diligence on those wild plants and being able to see if you can be able to actually utilize them for intake for your body. So you just got to do your, your research on, can you be able to utilize it for your body? For your body. And I got some cannas in here also. Over here, underneath this tree, I never fertilize this thing, but it does way better. It's doing way better than my other artichoke, and that other artichoke looked like it died off. But that was in a raised bed. I love gardening in ground because of in ground. It's just something about in ground. It's just like it just feels way better than to do it in ground. But like I said, is that I don't feel like pulling out Bermuda grass all the time, and I don't feel like it, and I don't have that. But this artichoke right here, guys, so big. Never covered this. Remind you, never covered this artichoke right here. Artichoke flowers are so beautiful. Here's another one, is a fennel. I never covered over here. So I let nature do its job. If you want to let nature do its job, start planting things underneath your trees. Start planting things underneath your what is it called? Your native trees. If you have native trees, start planting something underneath there. You maybe even strawberries. Start planting strawberries. Your herbs, things that you can be able to shade it out just a bit, but they're gonna still grow. They still will grow. Remember I told y'all, you plant sunflowers, you don't necessarily have to plant sunflowers no more. Check out this sunflower. This is like literally a big sunflower patch over here. It's just like how I'm gonna get to my other stuff. I'm gonna have to figure it out. I may just end up just like crushing it and then figuring it out. I don't know. But another thing about sunflowers actually pulls out toxins in the soil. So whatever crappy stuff that's in the soil, sunflowers will do its job and make the soil good again. Okay, over here in this patch, I always show y'all this, but I keep on saying I'm gonna get to it. Look, it is what it is at this point. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. But it's passion vine, and it will vine. It is a native. Passion vine is a native. Like, it literally will vine its way through anything and everything. But I love it because guess what? It's so the flowers, the leaves, everything is so pretty on there. But I will say this, is that make sure that you guys have a trellis, and you can be able to trellis it up, but because it loves running, it loves sitting out, it loves running on a fence. Mine's actually tried to go on a fence before, which I just have to just put it back around the fence, and it would just like literally do what it's gonna do. This is like wild, I guess like sorghum or something like that was growing, so I had to chop that down too. All right, y'all, so that completes the garden chattery chat about building up your soil and also building nutrients for your soil, for the plants can actually be healthy also and thriving. Yes, thriving, not surviving, but thriving. Building out a balanced ecosystem, not an ecosystem. Okay, so all right, y'all, so make sure that y'all continually to grow, flow within and out, and welcome peace within y'all, and making sure that y'all be able to transmute that energy outwards. All right, peace.